We just worked on chopping the arm, isolating that arm. Now we're gonna work on getting from tilts from here. All right? So first move, always our first move, getting pressure on his hands. Get pressure on his hands, rubbing our back leg up into his butt. You can either go double thigh pry, or this hand can come to his tricep, and you bump it forward, keeping your shoulder in the middle of his back here. Like that. Getting pressure on his hands. From here, you can either swim inside, bust that elbow down, bring it back up, or you can come to the fingers, 4 fingers. This hand's grabbing his 4 fingers. Elbow's right on the outside of his elbow. Collapsing over it. Snatch it back up. Get to that tilt. Alright? So from the tilt, this is what I'm doing. After this arm collapses this arm, let's say I grab the arm and I isolate it already. From here, I'm cross-wristing it. So my hand's coming across his waist and I'm grabbing his wrist. I'm bringing his wrist to his far hip. Alright? Like a seatbelt. Bring it to his far hip, so sit up. From here, I'm grabbing his wrist. I'm using my middle finger and my thumb and keep it around that soft spot on his wrist. Everyone has that soft spot on their wrist, like from like their bones in their hand. That's where I'm putting it. My middle finger and my thumb, right there in the middle of his wrist, and I'm pinching it. That's where my grip's the strongest. The rest of my fingers are just collapsing around it. From here, it's like a seatbelt around him. I'm bringing it to his far hip, not up to his armpit, not down to his thigh, right at his far hip bone. From here, the other hand coming in the outside of his elbow. You can push it across too for extra reinforcement. From here, I'm shooting my head and my elbow to his thigh. All right, I'm shooting my head inside and my elbow's going to his thigh here. All right, it's going here. If you want, you can just get a couple reps like this. Just getting that pressure right. All right, you can't just shoot your head in. All right, shoot your elbow in too. From here, you're gonna walk your feet around, hold this wrist keep pulling this wrist to you tight. Walking your feet around, put it right in your lap. From here, notice how my elbow is kind of glued, pinching his leg together. This elbow is pinching his thigh, pinching between my thigh, trapping this leg. From here, I'm keeping this elbow tight to me. I'm keeping this wrist on his waist. This foot's elevating. This knee, it's not relaxing. If it relaxes, that's how he rolls out of it. This back knee is really important. It stays up, he can't get out. From here, he tries to fight, pinching it tight and elevating, keep that knee up high. If my elbow slips out, that's fine. Keep this foot elevated, keep it on his heel. It's better if you keep it tight in your saddle there. Alright? If you keep it tight enough, you can pin him from here. So again, show the wrist, cross wrist one more time. So here, I chopped it. My hand's coming across, grabbing that soft spot on his wrist. My middle finger, my thumb, wrapping around it here, bringing it to his far hip like a seatbelt. This other hand's pushing his elbow across. I'm shooting my elbow and my head through, running my feet around, walking him right into my saddle here. All right, keeping this wrist on his hip. My elbow and my thigh are pinching together to lock his leg out, and this foot's elevated up. It's not resting. All right, this is a big mistake everyone makes on their tilts. If you keep it up, it's really hard for him to get out. This foot's just elevating his heel up. All right, so from the top, getting pressure on his hands. Here, you can either float inside, or you can collapse it, grab his 4 fingers, collapse it down like that, or you can float inside. So I'll do the float inside one here. Floating inside, snatching this wrist back, bringing it across, pushing his elbow in, shooting my head and elbow, running my feet, right to my lap, elbows up, keeping his wrist on his hip, elbow to my knee. All right? Scoot to him too. You don't want to really be more parallel to him. You kind of want to be perpendicular. All right? One more time. Back knee driving up. Shoulder right in the middle of his back. Double thigh pry or thigh and tricep. Either one. Here. Pressure on his hands. Collapsing that elbow down. Snatching it up. Hands coming across. Bringing it to his hip. This hand's shooting my elbow across. Head and elbow goes in the hole. Running my feet around. Bringing them right to my saddle. Tight knees up. Elevating. Pinching. Alright? Any questions? 1, 2.